All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Roberts, and I'll be giving you a few tips and tricks as it pertains to preparing for judging in the pit area. I know that potentially some of you went to a Dr. Haynes session and got some hopefully great information there. And so I will be hopefully enhancing that a little bit as it pertains to your preparation before and getting into the pit area itself and what you should be doing there for judging. A little bit about myself before we jump in. I was a former firster on Team 132, and I've been working with First either as a student or as a volunteer and a mentor for the past, is it 27, 28 years, something of that nature? And I'm also a judge if you've seen me at the events. So hopefully I'll be able to provide you some good information and it'll be helpful for you. Please don't hesitate as I go through this. If you do have any relevant questions, please feel free to put them in as we're kind of going along, and then we have a great moderator that will take a look at those, and if it makes sense, interrupt me, and I'll go ahead and answer those. If it is something that I'll be coming up to later, I'll just indicate that, and we'll do that. If you feel better holding your questions to the end, that's fine as well. All right. I will give it about 10 or 15 more seconds because I see we still have a few individuals joining, and then we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. All right. Let's go ahead. All right. So there's a misconception that if you just do the work, you show up, it'll be obvious to the judges and that you deserve an award or you should be eligible for a particular award, and that's unfortunately not the case. It takes preparation. It takes thought during the actual build season before you actually get to your competition, if you really want to be ready to win one of these awards. I won't go over this in too much detail because I know that Dr. Haynes actually went through quite a few of the awards, and some of you were probably there. But it's very important to understand what awards you might be eligible for. Hopefully, everyone is familiar with the firstinspires.org website. And right at the bottom of this slide is where you would get information, detailed information about the awards that are given out at the event. So one of the things that you're going to probably hear repeated as I go throughout my presentation is try to understand as you're going through the off season, as you're going through the build season, what awards do you think, one, that you're interested in winning, two, that you think tied to your team's strengths, and that use that information to start crafting a plan as to how you're going to go about preparing to win one of these awards. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. The pit. So the pit is your platform. It's your storefront. It's your company. And it's all squeezed into kind of a 10 by 10 foot area. Uh, when you go into a business, do you walk directly into the kitchen, into the storage room, into the manufacturing area? No, you don't. You're usually greeted by, a friendly area, a front desk, someone who's saying hello to you, determining what your needs might be. That is what you want to think about as you're thinking about your pit area, because yes, while things may be hectic and lots of different things are going on, as the days go on throughout the competition, folks are tired. Uh, you have to remember that this is how you are showcasing yourself, not only to the judges, but to your other teammates, to parents, to sponsors, to individuals that are with Georgia First, and people that are visiting. So just keep that in mind. I think that that is going to be kind of the baseline in terms of building everything on top of that for particularly winning awards, but of course, just growing your team and being a successful FRC team. So let's talk a little bit about success in the pit. What does that look like? You're going to want, again, for this to be a welcoming area. Many people think that your pit has to be something very fancy, right? Oh, I need to build up this structure. I need to have, mood lighting. I need to have, all these very professionally created banners and things of that nature. Sure, some of those things help. Some of those things are nice, but it's not required to be successful. There's many things that you can do that will keep a clean, organized pit area that is welcoming for your visitors, for your judges, for your sponsors. And a big part of that is being very intentional about how you actually lay out your pit and the way that you organize who is going to be in the pits at what time, what are they going to be doing, and how you actually go about enforcing that for your students, for your parents, for your mentors, and anyone else that will be working in your pit. Your team identity. There's so many times where even as a judge, you're walking around and you're going, oh, that team, I spoke to them. What was that team's name? Um, you want something that's going to not only hook with the judges, but something that your team can feel a sense of pride about, right? As you're developing your team, be it a new team, be it a veteran team, think about your team identity. What brings you together from a mascot, from a logo, from a mission? All of these different things help bring a team together, and then you can utilize those uh, in your pit area and in your presentations and in your discussions with the judges to highlight who you are and to allow for us to remember. Not just us, but anyone that you converse with to remember who you are. So establishing a team identity not only helps you within your team, within your school, within your community, but absolutely at the competition itself. Because it's unfortunate to say, as great as a team may be with a particular component for a technical award or something that's different done in the community, if it's difficult to remember you, then that's a challenge, right? And that does not uh, add to your ability to win an award at the event. Role assignments. I want to spend a little bit of time on this because this is one that I see very few teams think about in advance and execute well at the competitions. Uh, I'll start out with the first one. There should always be someone in your pit area. Yes, granted, as Dr. Haynes had said in his presentation, the judges will come back, right? And we'll probably check in, maybe one, two, three times, because we really want every team to have the opportunity to be able to speak with us, and actually give us, the information about their team and what they've been doing, and cool things that they may have developed. But having someone there at all times allows for us to understand. Oh, and by the way, not just for us, you have visitors, you have people walking by that are coming in just to see the teams and understand what's going on. It's great to have someone there to hand out your buttons, your giveaways, whatever the case may be. Uh, but definitely for the judges, understanding, oh, well, your team's currently at the practice field. Your team's, about to compete. You can rotate this role so that you don't have that one person staying there the entire time. But it's very important to have that person there, so that your team has a representation at all times. Another piece from a role assignment perspective is who are you going to have be the main speakers for your team? This does not mean that they have to know every single detail. They do not have to be an expert in the control system and the mechanical system and your outreach and things of that nature. And you can have, more than one person assigned to this role, but they should be your front desk. They should be the individual out there that are greeting individuals as they come to your pit area, that are greeting the judges as they come out. I've seen some so far to see judges walking down, looking a little lost maybe, and walking out and introducing themselves and saying, "Hey, would you like to come and speak to our team?" That in and of itself can just kind of give you a little check mark there to the judges. Oh, okay, this team is prepared. Uh, in addition to that, these are individuals that understand who is who within the team. They are going to be the people that say, oh, okay, I'm going to give you a high level overview of our team. I'm also going to start calling out the pieces of information for the awards that we think we're most eligible for. See? It's great to get the judges to start thinking about, oh, okay, well, this team, they have a really cool arm mechanism. They have done a ton in their community from an engineering inspiration perspective. That individual or individuals who are assigned that role should be introducing the team to the judges and then directing their minds in that path. Now, the next piece is then saying, okay, and then for more information on this particular subject, here is John, here is Susie, right? So that they don't have to have all that information, but it's very organized and you're getting the right people in front of the judges to share that information. Now, one of the things that we like to do as judges as well is sometimes cold call. We'll see someone in the pit area and we'll ask a question. So even though you have individuals that are prepared to be your front desk and individuals that are prepared to speak to certain aspects of the robot, everyone in that pit area should have something that they can speak to with the judges, be it the role that they had on the team, understanding about FIRST in general, understanding the ethos of FIRST and gracious professionalism. All of those things, everyone in the pit should have that. If an individual on your team does not have that level of knowledge and ability to communicate, then maybe they should not be in that pit area at that time. Now, not everyone's good at speaking. I'm not saying to kick anyone out of your pit. But if they are in your pit, at a minimum, they should have something that they are being able to say about what they are doing and understand who to hand that judge off to for more information about a particular subject or a question that they are asking. All right. The worst that they can do is ignore, um, just not have anything to say, or try to make something up. You don't want that to happen, because then the judges are not getting the right information that they need. We're not there to trick you. We're not there to try to go gotcha. We're trying to get the most information that we can to make the best decision and to celebrate the teams that are winning, are eligible and deserving to win the specific awards. Documentation. This is so important. So few teams have documentation. You might have the coolest thing ever that you have built from the standpoint of a sensor system that's detecting the April tags on the field and automatically firing your game piece and scoring. Or you might have done a ton in your community over the course of the off season and throughout the season. Uh, but if you do not document those efforts and you do not package that documentation in a way that it is easily understandable, readable. And unfortunately, the judges don't have a ton of time. So, again, there's the documentation, and then there's also making it accessible and understandable quickly. So flyers with here are the top things that we have done and things that we want to highlight to the judges as it pertains to the technical side of things or non-technical. In addition to that, yes, you can have a booklet that goes along with that with the detailed information, maybe a breakdown of your design process, maybe a breakdown of what you did throughout the year and the impact that it had. Uh, Keeping in mind here that some teams think that if you haven't done much, you don't need to do this, or you shouldn't do this, or it's not worth it doing this. I encourage every team to document what you have done because when I'm looking at a team from a judging perspective, yes, I may be focused on the technical side of things. I may be focused on controls. I may be focused on the quality of the robot. But all of these other pieces that go into making you a team are important. They show the organization. They show the professionalism that your team is putting in, and they show also growth. All of these things leave an impression. And that impression, tied with what you've actually developed, goes a long way to moving you up the board as it pertains to winning a particular award. So document, package that documentation, and make sure that you have something at the event itself to hand to the judges, to show to the judges, regardless of whether or not you think you are winning the impact award or not, regardless of whether or not you think this particular device that you've made or component that you've made, don't sell yourself short. Many times, we as teams are comparing ourselves to some of the top teams in our areas, in our regions, in the world, and we go, oh, well, this isn't good enough. Don't sell yourself short before you come to the competition. I found so many times that there are teams out there that may have the best from a technical perspective, but they can't speak to it. They haven't documented it. And regardless of whether or not I, as a judge, can see it for myself, if the students are not communicating that and they're not sharing that and they don't have documentation on that, they're not eligible for that award. So please go ahead and make sure that you are documenting. Practice. Practice makes perfect, right? In terms of before the actual event itself that you're going to and throughout the year, uh, mock judging scenarios. And I say judging scenarios, it doesn't have to be judging scenarios, but practicing communicating. That is going to be very important. Even if it's as simple, I talked about in the pit area, making sure everyone has something to say, even if it's as little as this is what I worked on the robot, or this is what I worked on the team, pardon me, because not everyone works on the robot. Uh, Having maybe just a sit down one-on-one with their peers and being able to just speak to that just in a few sentences. These are things that you should be preparing for before the competition and hopefully improving everyone's communication skills. I'm talking about all of this as it pertains to the judging and the pit area, but these are skills, these are life skills. And hopefully, through FRC, that's what we are doing, right? We're helping students develop a lot of skills that they're going to use outside of FRC. And this is going to be one of them. So practicing is very important. And of course, just like Dr. Ryan Haynes said, he's available to reach out to. I am as well. And I'm sure many other volunteers and mentors would be more than happy to help if needed to help your team or individual as a student to prepare. First impressions. How many of you are either that boy there, so tired after a long day at competition and just sitting in the pit area and taking a little nap, or you've seen that walking around the pit area itself? I know I have, and it's understandable. Things are hectic, things are stressful, things are tiring, but first impressions matter. And I talked about this a little bit as we talked about roles and responsibilities and individuals in the pit area. You want to make sure that, again, everyone in your pit area is active, alert, working on something, being productive, and definitely not taking a nap. If you need to go do that, let's go do that in the stands or something else. Again, you want to make sure that this is not the first impression that anyone gets when they walk into your pit. I'm going to reiterate a few things that we've talked about already, but it's because they're very important. Communication. You want a clear message. Specifically, if we're talking about awards, what awards do you think that you're most eligible for? So yes, you're going to introduce your team as a whole. You're going to talk about your team structure. You're going to talk about what you've done during the off season and during the build season. But then, if you think your team is one of the top teams for the quality award, or you think that you're going to be one of the top teams for the controls award, or you think that your team could be eligible for the engineering inspiration award, then you want to start um, structuring your conversation and your communication with the judges around those items, right? So that then you can guide that conversation in that direction and make sure they get as much information about those particular areas you want them to cover as possible. And the judges are all smart people. They'll pick up on this, and then they'll start asking more questions about it as you go on. You want to be friendly. You want to be open to questions. I've said this multiple times. You don't want to make things up, right? Um, think about this, prepare in advance. It helps if you're not just talking off the top of your head as you are speaking with the judges. Collaboration, teamwork is very important. We want to see that teamwork. We want to see how your team work together throughout the off season, the build season, and here in the pit areas, uh, as it pertains to, okay, who's working on the robot? Who is communicating with the judges? Who has worked on your marketing materials? Who has worked on your business plans? All of those different pieces, we want to see that, and we want to see, if possible, documentation as to how you've actually laid out and structured your team. Uh, the way that you come across, and this kind of tied in with your team identity as well, it gives us a picture of organization and professionalism. And if we walk away with that in our minds, in addition to the details that you're giving us about specific areas of your team or specific areas of the robot, that in and of itself gives us a something to bring back to the judges' room. If you heard Dr. Brian Haynes speak, talked about the collaboration that we do to kind of look at the different teams and where they might fit for different awards. That gives us a strong leg to stand on when we are advocating for your team. Okay, let's take a second here and talk about a specific award or two. I want to kind of use this as an example. So we're going to use innovation and control as an example. Let's start with the off season. Your team has said, "Hey, next competition season, we want to be eligible for the innovation and control award." Yes, you can absolutely do that. Make a goal for yourself. This is what we want to be doing, and this is what we want to be eligible for the coming year. So you're starting in the off season. All right. So what should you be doing? Well, number one, uh, I'd probably start by researching what other teams have done in the past. Two, I would start thinking about prototyping from a control system perspective, from a programming perspective, from a human machine interface perspective. What is that? That is your control system. How are you actually indicating that the robot should do X, Y, and Z? And start working on different things like that. Because when it comes to January and then the challenge is released, there's not a lot of time to do something that you are very unfamiliar with. So you want to be prototyping and learning in the off season. All right, now we've come to actually the build season. So you've got the challenge, you've got the game, and you're starting to develop your robot for that. As you're going throughout the process, we talked about this, right? You're documenting that. We want to be able to see, okay, was this something that you just figured out or had to hack together at the last second, or was this intentional? Most of these awards, particularly around innovation and control, some of the other technical awards, we want to see intentionality, that you thought about this, that you implemented it. It doesn't mean that you can't iterate on it because we expect iteration. But then the final product is something that not only is creative and is, I'll use the word cool, but it also operates and works well in competition, right? It does not help if the concept is great, but it doesn't actually execute on the field. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to be first place because of it. This doesn't mean that it has to. Now, read the rules specifically. Some of the technical awards, it does require it to work pretty much every time. Others are, yeah, okay, if it works majority of the time, okay, that's good. So, let's make sure that we are documenting that process as we go along. And then last but not least, when you are now in the pit area, you want to have that documentation to show to the judges. You want to have your front desk, you want to have them guiding the judges towards that as something important to pay attention to. Now, let me introduce you to our programmer or to our head of electrical or whomever the case may be to speak to you about this particular component. And then they're going to go into detail on that and utilize their documentation to actually show how they went through the process of developing it and how it actually works. Um, you could potentially do a demo in the pit if that makes sense, right? We obviously don't want to be dangerous. And then the judges will then take some notes themselves that I want to go and make sure that I see this on the field, right? Or that we have our judge that's usually out there to observe matches that we say, hey, we'd like to get some information on this particular team. So that is very important, right? That everything from a preparation in the off season, making an intentional decision that you're going to go for a particular award, through to documenting it during the season, and then presenting that in a way that the judges understand it, can visualize it, can see why it is unique, and then executes on the field. Engineering inspiration. So this is now one of the non-technical awards. One of the things that I want to call out about this, because I guess depending on who you talk to, some people will go, "Oh, this is kind of runner-up impact award and things of that nature." I do not believe that at all. It is different, and it's different in the sense that number one, it's for the current season. Okay. So if and it's one of the awards that gets you going to the World Championship, right? So if you're going towards this award, this is something that you start early, right? In the off season or at the end of the previous season, you are working towards a plan. What are we going to do? What are we going to do within our school? Oh, well, actually, let's take this. What are we going to do within our team? What then are we going to do within our school? What are we going to do within our community? And okay, well, if you're able to do that and you have the resources to do that, what are you going to do wider than that, right? Your state, your nation, worldwide. Some teams go that far, and that's great. But you don't necessarily need to compare yourself to those. It's what you're doing within that particular competition year, the off season, the build season, and then the competition season. Documentation, again, you hear this so much, is extremely important for this. And impact. It's not just what you do for the Engineering Inspiration Award. Um, and again, it's not just outreach for the Engineering Inspiration Award. It is how are you uh, impacting STEM growth in your school, in your team, in your community through your efforts. So that it's specifically that we are looking for. So you want to document that and you want to show the impact of that. Okay, we went to this elementary school or this library or these middle schools, or we supported these other teams. How many students? What was the outcome of that? Was there, what were your goals up front, and how are you measuring against your goals? Those are the types of things that I would want to see as a judge to be able to say, oh, yes, not only did the team plan, did a good job planning, they executed, and they're showing their impact from this. Now, obviously, a significant amount of impact is great, but even just showing that you were able to go through that process and execute, and that you actually thought to measure yourself as to what you were doing, that's the most important part that I would take from it. And then, of course, you can build upon that for future years, and that is then what leads you toward things like the Impact Award. But the Engineering Inspiration Award is a year-by-year award. All right, so let's talk about a few general guidelines. A few of these things will be repeated, but I do want to kind of reinforce them as we kind of get to the end of our presentation here. So let's jump into that. Be genuine. I've talked about several times, don't make things up, don't try to oversell things. Be genuine because, not just judges, but anyone can really kind of tell if you're not being genuine. Uh, Hopefully, you've had a positive experience throughout your time and over the course of the season with First. And we want to see that. We want to see that excitement. We want to see that interest. So that because that makes me truly happy when I get to talk to students that have really gotten something out of this program. So be genuine as you go through communicating with the judges and anyone throughout the season, and definitely when you are presenting in the pits. Student leadership. So the judges want to talk to the students. Yes, every so often we'll have a mentor or adult jump in and we'll say thank you, but we need to speak to the students. We want to hear your story. We want to hear, your skill set, how you have improved, over the course of the year or over the course of the years. What is your experience? So work on that. Talk to peers, talk to your mentors, talk to us. Uh, we want to see how the students have grown. And it says student leadership. It's not just who's in charge from a student perspective on your team. Every student on your team is taking a role, a leadership role in the area that they are focusing on. That's how I see it, and that's how I think that you should approach it. So hopefully, as you're actually developing your teams, working with your students, you have them take a responsibility and ownership so that can be reflected when they are speaking to anyone throughout the season, and of course during the pits, in the pits to the judges. Team impact. We want to again understand how your team is impacting within your school, within your community. I just wanted to remind you again because so many teams go, yeah, it's not that much. We're not doing much. That's okay. Not every team has the resources, the time to be able to do the same as other teams with more resources, with more time, with more mentorship. But everyone has to start somewhere. Start documenting that. Start setting some small goals for yourself because that's going to help you grow, and that's going to help us understand where we can help you as well. So that's your team impact and what you're doing. No matter how small, very important. Keep working on that. Uh, Everyone likes to be thanked for their time and efforts. All the volunteers, there's so many volunteers, from mentors to parents, teachers, judges, and refs. And take some time to thank. right? Everyone for what they're doing to help give you this experience. I know I was very thankful, and that's why I give back for what everyone did when I was in high school, and they kind of put me on my path. So please take some time to just give a thank you as you go throughout the season and as you are at the events themselves. All right, so just again, a reminder, focus on your team identity. We want to remember you. Keep working on your communication. And yeah, if there's any questions, hopefully this was helpful.
Thank you. Okay, so there are right now no questions in the Q&A section. So
Okay.
if anybody has any questions, now would be the time to ask. Okay, so Randy would like to ask, how can or should community-based teams answer questions for judges about impacts within their school?
Okay. So if you are a community-based team, obviously, I'm assuming when you say that, you're coming either from multiple schools or homeschools or something of that nature. Uh, First thing is when you are introducing yourself to the judges and you're telling them a little about yourself, you want to indicate that you're a community-based team, right? Because that's going to change how we ask some of the questions to you. Because if we don't know that up front, then we're going to make some assumptions that you're just coming from within a school, right? So that's number one, making sure that we understand that up front. And then as it pertains to answering questions, um, well, let's put the technical awards to the side for a second because I don't think that that really impacts anything from a technical award perspective. Other than maybe the collaboration between, how do you actually go about, breaking up the design process and the build process between potentially different schools or different groups, especially if you're not all in the same place. So that could be one, and that could be something that if you actually had a good plan to execute upon that would be very positive in understanding that. So that would be one thing that would give you a leg up if you were able to do that successfully and had documented how you went about executing upon that. For the uh, non-technical side of things, you're going to want to hope, number one, talk about it is very similar. If it's multiple schools, what have you done within each one of those schools? Did you make any plans to grow within your individual schools, even though you're a community-based team? Uh, what have you been doing in your community? What types of events have you planned for your community? What have you executed upon? And again, I know we're not speaking about any specific award here, but that's what I'd want you to speak to because again, even though it's a community-based team, you still want to present a unified front, right? The one of the worst things that you can do is speak about different parts of your team as separate entities, right? Because that kind of tells me that there isn't a level of organization that I would want and expect to be there. So I'll pause there. Hopefully that answered some of your question. If I didn't, feel free to make it a little bit more specific, and I'm happy to answer that.
Thank you. And that's all the questions, I think.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And obviously, if you ever do want to reach out, you can reach out. People can get me through the first committee or through Georgia First. I'm more than happy to share. I judge, I ref, I mentor, and so again, looking forward to seeing everyone this season.
Thank you. Bye-bye.